Before you collect your data, you have to decide how you want to measure your variables so you can be very precise when you actually measure them. Let's go over the difference between a construct and a variable. A construct is a complex psychological concept that varies from person to person or other experimental unit and can be measured in many ways. So this is something that's complex and that varies from each person or experimental unit. So an experimental unit can be a person, it can be a dog, it can be the stars, whatever you're collecting data on. And this construct can be measured in many ways. On the other hand, a variable is a concrete characteristic or a concept that varies from person to person or other experimental unit. So both a construct and a variable vary from person to person, but a construct is complex and a variable is concrete. A construct can be measured in many ways, and a variable is pretty predefined on which way you'll measure it, or you'll define how you'll measure it. Okay? So let's go over example. So let's go back to our ice cream example. We said ice cream makes children happier. And we said ice cream leads to happiness. Now one of these is definitely a construct. The other one might be debatable, but you can take a guess to that the more complex psychological one is happiness here. This is more likely to be our construct. It's very complex. Happiness is a complex psychological construct. Because happiness is a complex psychological construct, we must determine how we're going to operationalize the construct before we collect our data. Operationalization is how a variable or construct is measured. So it's how we define a variable. When we're measuring ice cream, it's kind of simple. We can put yes if they eat ice cream and no if they do not eat ice cream. But when it comes to happiness, there's a lot of ways we can operationalize happiness. For example, we could look at the faces of the children and see if they're happy or not. It's pretty easy to determine that way. Or you can have the children circle which face goes along with how they're feeling. These both are measures of happiness, and they might give you a little different result. So you have to choose before you start your study. How are you going to operationalize this complex psychological phenomenon? And defining your constructs is really important in psychology because we deal with a lot of complex emotions and thoughts and attitudes. So this is very important to do before you collect your data.